Hello, everybody. This is Appa Brian in the Appa Baseball Classics channel, back with a weekly Picks the Post show, NFL Picks. I'm joined today by Dan Mattingly and hopefully some friends of the channel. Lori says, "Hey, Dan." I also say, "Hey, Dan, how you doing?"
I'm doing good. Good week to get back and make some picks.
Yeah. Well, the word for the day is privilege, as in it is quite a privilege to be living in the Magic Mahomes era and watching him play. The Chiefs have had some great eras in the past, the Hank Stram era, Super Bowl age back in 1970, Dick Vermeil era, the Willie Roaf offensive line era, the Marty Schottenheim era. We've had some great teams to cheer for. But I really think it's a privilege to be watching Magic Mahomes week in and week out, and it's been a thrill for 5 years now.
Yeah.
And
we've just gotten used to it.
Yeah, and he's still young. Last week, he was good for over 500 yards, about 443 passing, and
he had 60 rushing.
Yeah, 63 rushing. 3rd and 17, he runs for 20 yards. Runs for a touchdown, and runs for a 2-point conversion in overtime. He has kind of deceptive speed. He can hesitate and juke you a little bit, but he trucked a guy going into the end zone.
He's a big guy.
I think he's about 230 pounds, probably 6'3", somewhere thereabouts. We're joined today by Bruins fan. Hello, everybody. Hi, Bruins fan. And also DJ on 4444. Two friends of the channel. And by the way, last week we all had a good week. Yours truly was 11-2.
That's awesome.
Dan, you were 10-3. Lori had a good week, but she thinks it was a failure. She was 8-5. Bruins fan was 9-4, and DJ John 9-4. Justin slipped a little bit, 8-5, and we gained 2 games on Rob's channel. I think we're +4 now.
Great.
See, Matt McClellan was 10-3 also. So we all had a great week last week, and we're all hanging around that 60% mark for the season. Justin's at 63%, Bruins fans at 62%. DJ John, I got you at 61. Lori is at 66%. She has been wiping us up week after week until last week. Dan, you're at 57%, but you're moving up, and I'm at 61%.
Fair.
I think it's only going to be getting better from here on out. All right, let's get started with the picks. Let's start off with the Carolina Panthers, who are 2-7. They're going to be hosting the Atlanta Falcons. It's a neutral game. That's not the German game. That's a Thursday night game. Falcons are 4-5.
Yeah, and this one is in Carolina?
It's in I've got it. Yeah, you're right. It's in Carolina. I probably should.
Okay.
I usually put the home team on the right. The Carolina Panthers are going to be in their blackout uniforms. I got to remake this helmet. I made a kind of a pitiful attempt to make the black helmet. I didn't get the stripes right. So I got to do that.
Cool. Yeah, well, as good as those jerseys are going to look, the Panthers did not look good last week. They're going back to PJ Walker after benching him. Did not look good last week. A couple of really bad picks. Baker Mayfield came in, played okay. He put up some points. Carolina was forcing the ball to DJ Moore. They weren't running as easy as they have in past weeks. The Falcons are a big boy team. That's a professional football team right there. There's a reason they're tied for number one in that division. I like their team. I think they have a chance to win every week, and I think they might win this one comfortably.
All right, I got you down for Atlanta. Both teams, they've got some glaring weaknesses. Carolina can't stop the run and run the ball down your throat.
Atlanta runs the ball constantly.
And Cordell Patterson's back in spades. So that doesn't look for Carolina. On the other hand, Atlanta Falcons can't stop the passing game. What are they? They're last in the NFL. They're secondary. So, which team is going to suck less?
Be a great game. Both teams stink.
Yeah. They played 2 weeks ago, so it's fresh in their minds. They played overtime.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be another close game. It's going to be a high-scoring game, and I'm with you. I'm taking Atlanta. All right, DJ John is taking the Falcons. Bruins fans taking the Falcons. And we're waiting on Lori's pick. She's thinking it through.
Well, as the current champ, she gets all the time she needs.
That's right. Next game is okay. Lori's got the Falcons. Next game we go to Germany. I think this is the first ever game, regular season game played in Germany.
Yeah, they've played a few preseason games over there. I can't remember a regular season game. Tale of two very,
Sorry, Seattle is 6-3. Tampa Bay is 4-5. Sorry.
And they are lucky to be 4-5. They can't score. Tampa. I mean, they could make me eat my words this week, but we'll see. Seattle's riding high. I don't see them dropping this game against a team that just is struggling to find an offensive identity. Very little run game. The defense is starting to look a little old. They're not moving the ball at all. Lots of big drops from the receivers, and you can just see the frustration from Brady week after week building. Seahawks, Geno Smith looks like an MVP. Kenneth Walker is playing like a top 3 running back in the NFL. That guy's almost impossible to tackle. So they can run the ball, they can pass the ball. Lockett's there, Metcalf is back. I expect this Seattle team to take care of business in Germany.
This is the Geno Smith versus Tom Brady game. Can Geno Smith outdo Tom Brady? Smith's at 73%, 15 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. And Tom Brady's having a good year. He has only 1 interception the entire season. 10 touchdowns and 1 interception at 65%. I think Kenny Walker probably should be the rookie of the year season he's having. And that's the thing I want to say. Last week, I think I got chewed up a little bit on Rob's channel after our show. I think I mentioned I thought Pete Carroll was a candidate for Coach of the Year. And apparently there weren't a lot of Pete Carroll fans over there.
Oh, but you've got to look at it. The defense is playing great.
With those 6 rookies that he's got, starting with Kenny Walker, but he's not the only one. They're not only starting, they're playing well.
Yeah.
He's still bringing a lot of energy to the field and a lot of imagination. I think Pete Carroll is right up there with Brian Dable. And I think you got to keep Nick Sirianni in mind in case Philadelphia doesn't lose.
Right. Yeah. No, he's got to be in there too.
So Tyler Lockett's got 600 yards. Metcalf's got 500 yards. They've just got more weapons in Tampa Bay right now, especially at the wide receiver position. A lot of people are probably going to pick Tampa Bay in this game, but I think we're looking at a different time for Tampa Bay, and Seattle is really coming. I'm with Seattle on this game. I'm with you. And also, Bruins fan, he said he's underestimated the Seahawks all year, and he is going to take them this week. All right, next game, I just dropped a helmet. Fortunately, these are helmets, and they're pretty solid. Minnesota is at Buffalo. This could be the game of the week. This is the first of the Sunday noon games.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Picking on a Tuesday, we don't know what we're going to see from Josh Allen. He potentially has a UCL injury to his elbow. If he doesn't play, I think the Vikings win. But if Josh Allen can get out there and play, the Bills should take him. Severity of the injury is just one of those things you don't know this early in the week. So it's a pick'em game. They're both talented. The Vikings keep winning. They look very good. Justin Jefferson over the top is a heck of a weapon. And man, as you mentioned last week, Dalvin Cook is really starting to go. He had a slow start to the season, but man, has he produced the past few weeks. This is a tough one. I'm gonna go Buffalo, but man, if Case Keenum's a starting quarterback, I think the Vikings take it.
Okay. This is the Stephon Diggs revenge game. That's one thing to consider. He used to play for the Vikings. He wants to show them that he's better than Justin Jefferson. So I think he will be highly motivated. I'm not on Minnesota's bandwagon yet. I'm really not. They're 7-1, but they've only beat 2 winning teams this year. And when Kirk Cousins is the underdog by 6 points or more, he's 0-6. So it's kind of like the thing we talked about in the past with Kirk Cousins. Okay, there we go. We're back. I thought I'm seeing some freezing up there. Bruins fan says he's taking the Bills. They're very upset after losing last week. But more than upset, they might not have Josh Allen, as you mentioned. It's a UCL injury. The only time that Josh Allen has missed was 4 games his rookie season. He had a UCL injury. And the head coach is going to address the media Wednesday on his injury, so we may know more tomorrow. But I've heard some media reports that some people are thinking about Tommy John surgery. Have you seen the picture of when he got injured for the Jets game? His arm was back. It was way back there.
Looked bad.
Yeah, and plus he's exerting force to throw the ball hard. I know he threw past 69 yards after that. It happened toward the end of the game, but that could have been a drilling. I'm not real optimistic about this injury. If he can't go, Case Keenum is the next choice, and it's not a bad choice, Case Keenum. We've seen him do some good work up in Cleveland and with Minnesota before that. So it could be a revenge game for Case Keenum too, if he gets to play. Those are my facts. I think Minnesota is an overrated 7-1 team. I'm picking Buffalo with or without Josh Allen. Lori's got the Bills. And let's go to the Detroit Lions at the Chicago Bears.
Well, these are two teams that were pretty frisky last week. One of my favorite clips from last week was Fields is running and he's just taking over the game. The Dolphins can't do anything about him, and he gets pushed out of bounds right in front of the coach of the Dolphins, who you can clearly see saying, "Stop it." to Justin Fields as he runs all over the Miami Dolphins, pretty much single-handedly keeps them in that game. That guy is one of the more fun players to watch we've had in quite some time. Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson, and now we have Justin Fields. It's a great time to watch football, isn't it?
Over the last few weeks, he's finding himself now.
Yeah. Oh, his confidence is through the roof. So I think he continues to impress. That defense isn't going to stop anybody's, but neither is the Lions. They had a sneaky good win last week against another struggling team, but I don't think they're good enough to beat the Bears, especially with their offensive struggles of late.
So you're down with Chicago. Bruins fan says the Bears. DJ John says them Bears. So far, our channel has agreed on all of our picks so far. The Detroit Lions are 29th against the pass. That should help Justin Fields to throw a few more passes. I don't know if Detroit can stop Mooney or Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet is looking like a big-time tight end from Notre Dame. So Dre Swift has been still a mystery.
Yeah,
he's been out like he did last year.
Yep.
Only 2 carries against Green Bay last week. The problem is the Chicago Bears have depleted their defense, and I don't see they're the second worst defense now in the NFL, and I don't see them improving that over the year. So bring your calculator. It's going to be all day long. Right. In this game. So if you bet numbers, take the over in this game. I think coming up in the 2023 draft, the Chicago Bears are going to be the team to watch. They got extra picks. They got needs in the offensive line and now needs on the defense. But there's a lot of excitement in Chicago, and there should be. They look like they're a team that's going to be moving. I don't think it's moving up. Don't think it's going to happen this year. But they sure gave a quality Miami team a scare last week. They should be able to run all over Detroit. Herbert's 586 yards, 6.0 average. Fields has got 602 yards with 6.6 average. Set a single game record last week.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 178 yards last week?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he ran all over them.
And Montgomery got 400 yards. So this team can run the ball, and Detroit cannot stop the run. So I don't see Detroit having any chance in this game. Let's see. I think I haven't seen Lori in your picture. Yeah, Lori says. Lori says the Bears. She's got Chicago. All right, next game. I think it's kind of a picking game. It's the Broncos at the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I don't know where to go with this one. I looked at it long and hard for a good few minutes and kind of almost flipped a coin on it. Tennessee is so well coached. They executed a perfect game plan against the Chiefs this past week. Just Mahomes put the Chiefs on his back and said he wasn't going to let them win, or
Well, they had a plan
let
for
them
Kelsey.
lose, I should say.
They had a plan for Kelsey, didn't they?
They sure did, buddy. And they didn't need to blitz. So, they've got a great defense there. They have zero receiving. It's just a barren shelf over there. I just didn't understand the AJ Brown trade when they made it. I think it's hurting the team definitely. They're probably a playoff team anyway, but I mean, without Brown, they just have no punch in the passing game. Derrick Henry, I mean, he's rounding into form. He looks like the best running back in the league again. But the Broncos defense is very good, and Russell Wilson is kind of getting on track a little bit. Give me the Titans just because I don't trust Nathaniel Hackett or Russell Wilson's offense.
Yeah, I think Mike Vrabel, like you said, is such a good coach, and Nate Hackett is not such a good coach. There's a big disparity there. So I give Tennessee a very big coaching edge in this game. But still, I kind of look at this as a bit of a pick'em game myself. Denver's got some problems beyond the coach. Baron Browning is very questionable with a hip. He's the reason they thought they could get rid of Chubb, but I'm not sure Baron Brown's going to be able to play in this game. They have a starting center who's out, starting left tackle who's out. They do have the top passing defense, but Tennessee's probably not going to throw the ball much. So that's not necessarily going to come into play there. And Denver's running backs, they're just below average. Murray and Gordon, they're clearly below average.
Yeah, they miss Williams a lot.
At the end of this show, I'm going to play. We got to see the Titans coming out of Crown Center and going over to the game at Arrowhead. So I'm going to play 2 minutes of some of their players coming to the bus. Like you said, they came with a great game plan last week, but it wasn't enough. Tannehill is probably going to be back. When he was walking to the bus, he looked like he was better. He took throwing warm-ups, but didn't move around in warm-ups. But he is a probable for playing this week. As you mentioned, not one wide receiver had a catch the entire game last week.
It was rough.
I don't know what they're going to do to fix that, but because Burks is not coming, the number one draft pick, Burks is out with the toe. He's on IR, so he's not going to be around for a while. Robert Woods is not stepping up.
Mm-mm.
They did get that long pass to that new tight end.
Yeah, that was pretty.
That was impressive. Their defensive line, this is going to battle two great defensive lines. Simmons and Atre, they dominate. But you say Tennessee is just too one-sided of an offense. There's 46% of it Derrick Henry. That's a big chunk.
Yeah, it is.
After Henry, they don't have. After Henry, Malik Willis was scaring me to death with the RPOs, but they only ran a couple of those.
Yeah.
If they got him going with RPOs, he's got a strong arm.
Sure.
Everybody says he's not ready, but I'm not sure I wouldn't have him playing more because that is quite a pickle they put people in when you got to choose between Henry and we're stopping his running. Malik Willis is running. He's fast.
You saw it freeze the Chiefs' safeties over and over. Every time they did it, they sucked in on Henry, and Willis was to the edge. By the time they reacted, it was going for 15 yards at least.
One of those RPOs, I think in the second half, though, was shut down. And actually, Tennessee was shut down in the second half. 10 yards total, second half, 1 first down. But with all that being said, I think Tennessee's going to win the game. I'm not real confident of it, but I got Tennessee. Bruins fan has Tennessee. DJ John has Tennessee. And Lori is good with the Titans. We are all in agreement this week. Next game is Jacksonville at Kansas City.
All right. So, Jacksonville kind of got the monkey off their back last week. Good win for them. Um, Won by a touchdown. Etienne really looks like he's settled into the offense. Lawrence, if he can limit his mistakes, is a good quarterback. He's not the most accurate guy. And that defense for Jacksonville is pretty good. They can rush the passer. They don't get gouged too often in the run. And, really what they're going to have to worry about with the Chiefs is the passing game. Chiefs running backs really struggled last week against a tough Titans defense. Really couldn't get anything out of the running game other than Mahomes there. He led the team with, as you mentioned, 63 yards rushing. The Chiefs are looking good though. That defense, like you mentioned, they really have been able to step up and put teams away in the second halves of games and really let the offense, when they've had their struggles, kind of work through their problems. I think Juju Smith-Schuster is showing a lot of the you know go-to potential that we really need when Travis Kelce is getting the special treatment that we're gonna see him get. As great as he is, when they bracket him, when they chip him, and they double him, it's really hard to get him the ball. Give me the Chiefs. I think at home they're a little bit too much for this young Jacksonville team.
I do hope we're on upset alert because we have not played great at home this year. And I think Jacksonville is capable of beating us. Their wide receivers, Christian Kirk and Jones, have 82 catches between them. And I think that's going to be a good challenge. McDuffie, our number one pick, was there on the corner last week. We got 3 rookies on the corners. It's going to be a good challenge for them. They were up to it last week. Anytime Tennessee thought about throwing to the World Series to the wide receivers, they were blanketed and just couldn't. ETN is going to be a problem. 680 yards, 5.7 yards rushing. We're going to have to do a better job in the first half of stopping the run, but we showed in the second half that we can stop the run. Jacksonville, we should get some turnovers in this game. 9 fumbles between ETN and Lawrence. Now listen carefully. Here's a few facts that are bucking me up for this Chiefs game. And we don't pick locks for the week, but this would be my lock of the week. After you turn the clock back in the fall, don't ever pick against the Chiefs. They won their last 10 November games, and it gets better in December. They won their last 14 December games. And on top of that, when Jacksonville plays a game that starts in under 55 degrees, they're 0-20. That's 44 reasons why the Chiefs are my lock of the week. I'm picking Kansas City. It's supposed to be 39 degrees at kickoff.
Those Florida boys can't handle that. That's too much for them.
It's going to be a weather shock to the Florida boys. Everybody is also picking KC. Now we have another pick'em game in my mind. Cleveland at Miami.
Well, Cleveland has they've been able to use Nick Chubb to keep some great passing attacks off the field. They really were impressive, I thought, against the Bengals, using another great game plan to really limit the ability of Joe Burrow to get to his targets. Their defense is very good. Myles Garrett really changes the game for them, and he looks very healthy right now. He's gonna put together another great game. I have a full confidence in that. But the Dolphins are gonna have more of a game, I think. I think that Tua is really comfortable in this offense. He's getting the ball out in less than just about 2 seconds a pass almost. It's so hard to stop when you have the speed on the outside with Waddle and Hill. The defense for the Dolphins is not as good as I think some folks believe. They're giving up a lot of big plays. Even though they do have a couple of corners that are billed as shutdown corners, I think that Amari Cooper may have himself a little bit of a day over there. But I think that the Dolphins should be able to put up a few too many points for the Browns, even if the running backs do give them a good day.
I got you down for Miami. Lori's got Miami. Haven't heard from TJ quite yet. I'm looking at my notes, and I crossed out Cleveland, and then I crossed out Miami, and then I crossed out Cleveland, and I may cross out Miami again. My mind is back and forth on this game. Cleveland has an average pass defense, and they could get lit up by Waddle and Hill. In fact, I think they probably will get lit up by Waddle and Hill. Tua is 70%, 15 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. On the other hand, Jacoby Brissett should be familiar with some of Miami's players. He used to play for Miami.
Yeah.
So they've seen him in practice a lot. They should be very familiar with Jacoby Brissett. You know, one of my thoughts was that this is going to be a high-scoring game, and I don't think Cleveland is going to be able to keep up with that, even though I don't think Miami's going to stop Chubb.
No.
The other thought is, like you were talking about, Myles Garrett may completely take over this game.
Yeah.
I've seen Derek Thomas have a 7-sack game, and I've seen him. He didn't have a 7-sack game, all the time, but I've seen him literally take over games.
Sure.
And Myles Garrett is very capable of doing the same thing.
Yeah, he's that type of guy.
So I don't want to pick this game.
That's usually my line.
DJ John is saying Miami. Since I think it's going to be a pick it. No, I can't. I got to go with, of course, out Cleveland one more time.
There you go. Peer pressure. Good job, guys.
Ultimately, it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I don't think Cleveland's running game is going to put enough points on the board. So we've all got the Dolphins, and we all might lose that pick.
Yeah.
Next game is the Houston Texans at the coming back from a bye New York Giants.
Well, we were talking about it before we started, but Xavier McKinney decided to go to Cabo, and he drove he flipped a giant ATV, or Can-Am, I think is what it's called, and completely destroyed his hand. He's their defensive play caller and a captain back there for him. Really important to the Giants. That's hard to replace. That being said, the Giants are well coached. I'm sure they'll be able to withstand that injury. I think Saquon and Daniel Jones are keying on each other. They're on the same page. And the Texans just don't have a lot to rely on other than Dameon Pierce. Brandon Cooks is kind of having a subpar year for him, and the other weapons just aren't really there for the Texans. Davis Mills, he's a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL this season. Really kind of had high hopes for him in the beginning of the year, but it doesn't look like it's going to work out for him in Houston. Give me the Giants.
That is a big blow for the New York Giants to lose Xavier McKinney, number 5. He was sometimes used to blitz and get after the quarterback. He was very good at that, and a very good safety in general. Houston's top 2 wide receivers may be out. Collins is out, and Brandon Cooks is very questionable for this game. And even if Cooks is not out, he is not happy with his contract. And it's kind of like a Cam Akers situation, like in LA for the Rams. You got about the same deal going on here with Cooks and the Houston Texans. I think the bottom line in this game is Saquon Barkley will run through the Texans, more than Damian Pierce will run through the Giants. And Daniel Jones will run through the Texans and not make mistakes. And I think Davis Mills will make mistakes against the Giants. I'm picking the New York Giants. And let's see what the channel's got. Lori's got the Giants. Bruins fans got the Giants. Have not heard yet for DJ, and there he comes. He's got the Giants. So the G-Men and the fun goes on in New York. I did not think the Jets would beat the Bills last week.
Jeez, that was wild.
Okay, the next game is New Orleans at the Steelers. New Orleans is 3-6, and Pittsburgh is 2-6.
You know, this is one of those games that you don't even really want to watch. I think
I'm kind of entertained watching New Orleans, especially when they put Taysom Hill in.
Oh yeah, when Hill's running, it's fun. But man, when Dalton's in, it's not. They have a good offense that shows up some weeks and just can't put points on the board the next. They're a tough team to pick because you just don't know if they're going to show up or not. Sometimes the defense plays great. You know, they blow somebody out, and sometimes, you know, they're in single digits. You just never know what's going to happen with them. The Steelers, you kind of know what's going to happen. You're going to get a few mistakes out of their rookie. They're going to play like middle of the pack to kind of not so great on defense. They're missing a lot of people there. Give me the Saints. I think Kamara is really, as we've mentioned with Cook, Kamara's been kind of up and down, but you know, he's had some good games this here recently. I expect him to do fairly well this week.
The New Orleans Saints, they do have an above average pass defense, and Pickett is 2 touchdowns against 8 interceptions.
Yeah.
But we might be seeing a repeat of that story. And they can rush the passer, and Pittsburgh cannot protect the passer. They've allowed 21 sacks. And more than that, both Trubisky and when he was in there and Kenny Pickett have been kind of running for their lives, so they're not getting a chance to set their feet and make good throws like they can. Pittsburgh's got to get some better offensive linemen.
Yeah, they're wasting Najee Harris right now.
Well, Najee Harris is only averaging 3.3 yards per carry.
And he's getting hit at the line every time. There's no hole.
At the line, and I'm kind of waiting for Jalen Warren to be given a shot. You know, and it might happen this week. We will see. It's rumored that TJ Watt, well, it's not a rumor, TJ Watt is coming off the IR. He's got 2 weeks designated, and it's rumored that he may play this week. And I know it's early, and so he may play, he might not play, but if he does play, that will really be a shot of energy for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah,
but I'm picking New Orleans. Yeah, I'm still picking New Orleans. Bruins fan has got the Steelers in a defensive game. Thank you, Bruins fan. This is the first time we've had a pick other than what we've been thinking. Lori told me earlier in the week that she's going to pick every pick that we pick, and so far that's pretty much held true. She's going to protect that lead. She wasn't born yesterday.
There we go.
DJ is still thinking on his pick. So we've got 3 for New Orleans and 1 for Pittsburgh so far. Next game is impossible to pick. This is probably the toughest game to pick.
I knew this was coming.
Colts at Las Vegas. Colts are 3-5-1. Vegas 2-6.
These are the 2 dumbest teams in the league. So, you know, not a lot of good to say about this. Jeff Saturday will be the coach. They decided to pull their the new Colts coach, the owner, decided to pull off of a ESPN broadcast instead of from a sideline. That's a little concerning. I know Jeff Saturday knows football, but he has zero coaching experience that I know of at any level, much less the NFL. So that's your head coach for the Colts in the interim?
3 years of high school coaching.
Ah, there we go. Okay. Well, that's great. I'm sure that'll help. The Colts, Ellinger doesn't look like an answer. He's kind of a mess back there, as you might have expected. He's a little bit more mobile, but that doesn't translate to offense. The Colts defense is, they're there. They're an NFL defense, but there's nothing about them that kind of makes you stand up and take notice. The Raiders are as talented as any team in the league, but they suffer from problematic offensive and defensive line issues, penalties, bad coaching decisions. It's rough out there. It truly is for both of these squads. Give me the Raiders. They're home, and I think they have a better team. That does not mean they'll win, though. They can give up a game to anybody.
Oh, well, they've blown 3 17-point leads, and I think that's an NFL record. And that's what Carr was saying on his press conference. He was saying that the team has got to figure out that there's more than 30 minutes to a football game. And he also said he has some other things that should not be shared in public to say. I'd like to be a fly on the wall if he's talking with Josh McDaniels. The Raiders, you think McDaniels' job is on the line, but the Raiders are heavily committed to him.
Yeah.
So I kind of think his job is not on the line. It's ironic that when Frank Reich got his job in Indiana, the job was previously offered to McDaniels when he was on the New England staff, their OC. But he turned it down the last minute, so Indy offered the job to Frank Reich. And really, Reich wasn't horrible. He was 40, 33, and 1 over his tenure. But Irsay, the owner of the Colts, is kind of an impetuous guy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a rough one.
He's got some opinions. He should have some opinions. His family goes way, way back in the NFL. And he's seen
beloved in Baltimore, the Irsays. Just awesome people in Baltimore.
Oh, yeah. Always welcome.
Yeah. Them in Mayflower.
Yeah, their Thanksgiving invite. No, he's got some opinions, but my goodness, picking a guy with no head coaching experience. He hired somebody named Frazier as the offensive coordinator who's never called a play before. And you got a quarterback who hasn't played much.
Yep.
Who knows what's going to happen?
This sounds like old school Al Davis-esque.
It really does. But, my other thought on this is I wouldn't put it past Ernie to pick a friend. Jeff Saturday would be a friend of his, and a big time popular Colt from his playing career. But I wouldn't pass Rooney to do this in midseason to get around the Rooney rule, or Irsay to get around the Rooney rule. It says you have to conduct interviews with diversified candidates. So that might be what this is all about. In that case, I really don't like this move. I don't have anything against Jeff Saturday. I do think he's an exceptionally bright analyst.
Mm-hmm.
But this kind of reeks of, when the Chicago White Sox reached up into the broadcast booth and made Ken the Hawk Harrelson, their GM.
Yeah,
that was
him.
That was a disaster. And this could be a disaster as well. The Raiders released a former first-round pick, Jonathan Abraham, a safety today. Darren Waller, the tight end, I said this a few weeks ago, his hamstring might just carry through the year.
Yeah.
And he's still fighting it. A good linebacker they've got, Diablo, left the game last week. He's very questionable. Pretty much all Vegas has got going for them right now is, they still have Devontae Adams, of course.
Yeah.
And Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs having a fantastic year, 743 yards. But Indianapolis has got a pretty tough front. He may find it going a little tough this week. Renfro has been a disappointment.
Yes, he
I
has.
had huge respect for him last year. He was like a little Biletnikoff. He's
Right.
not been so this year.
No.
So I'm picking because I don't know what you're going to get from Indianapolis. I'm going to go with Las Vegas. DJ's got Vegas. And as Bruin Van says, nobody cares. Put me down for Vegas. That's about right. All right, next game is.
And the shame of it is both of those teams were predicted to be either close to playoff teams or at least winning teams at the beginning of the year.
Vegas was a playoff team last year, and they got more talent this year.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah. So the next game is Dallas Cowboys at the warmed over, ripe Green Bay Packers. Stick a fat fork in them.
Yeah, they're done. Man, the Pack, it's sad to see. Aaron Rodgers is a little bit washed right now. We'll just say the defense isn't as advertised. They're willing to give up points here and there for sure. And man, the Packers are just a nothing on offense unless Aaron Jones is just going to dominate a game, which isn't going to happen against probably the most talented defense in the league. Dallas is a force on defense. My goodness, they're going to get after Rodgers and make him really work for it this week. And I think that Dallas has enough offensive weapons with Pollard, who, in my opinion, they need to get rid of Ezekiel Elliott. I mean, Pollard is by far the class of their backfield. They added, it looks like they're going to pick up Odell. Is that what you're seeing too?
I've heard that, but I didn't know it was.
I don't know if it's a done deal yet, but it probably won't matter for this week. Give me Dallas. I don't think this game's going to be very close.
Odell might not be ready till December anyway.
Yeah, because he's been out of football.
Yeah, this game does not elicit memories of the Ice Bowl,
No.
which is one of the most memorable games. I watched that on TV when I was a kid, and
yeah, Bart Starr's wife blames that for like all his health problems playing in that game.
That could be.
Yeah,
I'm sure it did permanent damage to his lungs. Lori's down with Dallas. DJ's down with Dallas. I am down with Dallas. Let's see. Yeah, I said you could stick a fork in the Packers. Dobbs, their top, who I thought at one time would be their top receiver. He's injured. He's out with an ankle until December. Rashad Garrett, an outstanding linebacker, is out for the season. Their defense, their secondary is number 2 in the league, but Cowboys don't need to throw it a lot. I don't think the way Pollard's going, and Ezekiel Elliott is coming back from an injury, but I think he'll be available. He's listed as probable with his knee this week. Cowboys have the Vikings next week and the Giants the next week, so I'm hoping this is not a trap game for them. But I don't think it will be. The team on offense is just not eye-popping like they were last year, but they've been efficient. And the defense is Super Bowl quality. The defense is outstanding. Parsons has got 8 sacks, 9 tackles for loss. Lawrence Armstrong is second in sacks and I think tackles for loss from KU. Got to mention Lawrence Armstrong.
You got him in again.
Absolutely. Why not? Next game is the Arizona Cardinals. I'm getting a little tired of looking at Kyler Murray yelling at everybody every week. And I bet
Yeah,
his
he
team.
may.
I bet his
Right.
team is. Arizona Cardinals at the Los Angeles Rams.
Well, I don't really know what to do with this game, be honest with you. Both teams are kind of floundering right now. I don't see any consistency with Arizona's offense. They had their full complement of players, and they played a very lackluster game this past week, in my opinion. And the Rams have no offense. They they can't block, they can't run. They can throw to Cooper Cup if Matt Stafford takes a huge hit. It seems like every single time he lets go of the ball. I don't know. That guy's got to be the toughest guy in the league. The hits he's taking are just outrageous.
And he's battling he's battling his
UC,
elbow.
yeah. And from the beginning of the year, we had mentioned he was having elbow issues. So, I think the Rams are looking at the offseason hoping to reload, I'm sure, but I don't think they're going to get anywhere close to the playoffs. But I don't know what to do with these Cardinals. They have so many issues with their quarterback and the star players, and then the coach. And the Cardinals' defense isn't that great. Give me the Cards, but I hate myself for taking them.
Got you down for Arizona. I'm going to back up a little bit. I see Bruins fan has mentioned I'm taking Dallas, but they have to stop Green Bay's running attack. Green Bay showed up in the second half of their Dallas game with their running attack, and I'm kind of in agreement with that. But I'm not sure they're going to come out like that, like they did in the second half of the Buffalo game, because of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers is all about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Green Bay should tell Aaron Rodgers that you're going to throw the ball 10 times today, and the rest of it's going to be all running. That's what should happen. But I don't think they're going to do that. And that's why I'm picking Dallas to easily beat Green Bay. Now for the Rams game, Bruins fan has the Rams. Lori has the Rams. And DJ has the Rams. The Arizona Cardinals in the last 3 games have given up 30 or more points. Their defense is struggling. And this is a very, very important game for both teams. Arizona is 3-6. The Rams 3-5. And whoever loses this game, you can kiss the playoffs goodbye. They're done. They'd be the next team after Green Bay that you can stick a fork in. So it's an important game. Arizona has James Conner back as their main running back. They've got a strong wide receiver core.
Hopkins.
It's better than
in every game since he's been back, I think.
Yeah. But again, I don't like seeing Kyler Murray screaming at D-Hop. Last week, he was screaming at his coach the week before that. And I got to believe that. I mean, it's not like Patrick Mahomes is screaming at you, which he doesn't normally do. But I think the team was
the enemy get into it every once in a while.
Well, yeah, but that's true. And I think rightly so, actually.
Yeah.
But
it's too conservative.
I don't see Mahomes screaming at his individual players after they make a mistake. He usually goes up to them and says something to them like, let's get focused. You're going to still make a play in this game. Stuff like that. I'm kind of getting tired of Kyler Murray's act. The Rams, their defensive line can stop other teams' running games. So I don't see Connor going off. They're number 4 in rush defense. They've only allowed 6 rushing touchdowns for the whole season. And I think Aaron Donald and Wagner and Ramsey, those 3 stars on defense, are pretty stout and they're pretty good playmakers. I think they're going to be able to beat the Cardinals.
I just
They're
don't
coming to
see it
Kansas.
scoring. It's going to be a low-scoring game.
I believe that too. I think it will be a low-scoring game. Now, the Rams are coming to Kansas City in 2 weeks. And it seems to me it's been a real long time since they played at Arrowhead. I mean, even going back to the St. Louis days.
Yeah, it has been. I can't recall.
Next game is the other Los Angeles team, the Los Angeles Chargers and the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay, so this one's a kind of a very fun game in my opinion. I think this could be a great one. Could also just kind of fall flat on its face. The Niners are a great team to watch. They're so balanced now that they have McCaffrey and Kittle and Debo relatively, and Debo's not too healthy, but I'm sure they're hoping he'll play this weekend from one site I read. The San Francisco defense led by Nick Bosa, always formidable. They get after the quarterback, and the Chargers are pretty limited on their offensive line right now. The Chargers have a ton of injuries. I mean, they can't get Keenan Allen back on the field. Mike Williams is banged up, and Herbert's having trouble getting the ball out sometimes because of all that. I think the Chargers have a really good defense when they show up behind Derwin James there, but I don't think they have enough to beat the Niners this week.
This could be the Bosa Bowl.
Is Joey going to be back?
He's questionable, but it's possible he'll be back. I hope he's back. I'd love to see both the brothers.
Oh yeah,
play against each other. I like this game in general. Like you said, I love watching the 49ers play. I just love watching their offense. It's a great scheme. I like watching the Chargers. I love their uniforms. Always have. Anytime I catch a Charger game, I said, man, those threads are just top of the line. But
I just saw. Sorry to interrupt.
Joey, yeah.
The last game was the 54-51 game in 2018 that the Rams were in Arrowhead.
Oh.
Yeah. One of the great games of all time, and we forgot.
How can we forget that? Like you said, the Rams are probably the most injured NFL team in the last 2 years. They got all these superstars. They can't keep them on the field. Defensive tackle Austin Johnson has a fractured knee. I think he's out for the year. They're 29th against the run. One redeeming thing, though, with the Chargers is that they are 3-1 on the road. They have played pretty good on the road. By the way, on that, the Chargers are coming to Kansas City the next week.
Yeah.
And that game has been moved to Sunday night. It was a 3:25 game. It's now a Sunday night game, moved to prime time. All right. I'm picking San Francisco. Their defensive line is just too tough. I don't see it. Eckler's a great back, but I think he's going to have a rough go of it against that defensive line. Herbert's going to have not going to get protected well, so he's going to have his problems. The defensive line has 18 sacks among them. They can really get after the passer. And they have the NFL's top rushing defense. So like I said, Eckler's going to have some problems. I'm picking San Francisco. All right, DJ is also picking San Francisco. And 49ers are getting ready for a Super Bowl run. And I think you're right, Bruins fan. I really do think that there's a Super Bowl run brewing for San Francisco. Absolutely. All right, the last game is the Monday night game. And that's the Washington Commanders at the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles.
Well, the Commanders are they're a tough little team. They plug along and they play fairly well in every game. They keep it close most of the time, especially with Taylor Heineke in there. He's clearly a better starting quarterback at this stage of career that Carson Wentz is. Um, I I like what Washington's doing. They're making the most of kind of a limited roster. Their defensive line is a good one, very stout. They have played fairly well this year. Um, but the Eagles are a powerhouse, and for them to stumble at home against the Commanders would be a big surprise for me. Hertz has been able to find AJ Brown for some big scores. The running attack led by Sanders is fantastic. They are so balanced, and that defense, that's one of the best defenses in the league. I would love to see, um, I would love to see the Eagles play the Niners to go to the Super Bowl. I think that'd be a fantastic NFC Championship game. Give me the Eagles.
Fly, Eagles, fly. The Washington Commanders are really, I think, the most unlucky NFL team. They could be 6-3.
Yeah.
They blew a 10-point Viking lead in the fourth quarter over the Vikings. Could have won that game. And then they had first and goal on the 2-yard line against the Titans with 19 seconds to play, and they couldn't get it done. But they're that close to being 6-3 and right up there with Dallas, and not far behind Philadelphia. Kind of like the AFC East. The NFC East has really improved this year. Big
They
time.
might have 3 playoff teams in the AFC East with Buffalo and New York and, my goodness, Miami. Jeez. That's 3 of the best
Well,
teams
they
in the
could,
league.
yeah. Yep, they could. We talked about it last week. Heineke and McLaurin have a tremendous connection. He's averaging 16 yards per catch. Their defense is really coming along for Washington. Allen and Payne have 10. The two defensive tackles have 10 sacks between them. Are they getting Chase Young back yet?
I don't think so.
Not quite. Yeah, they might be getting him back pretty quick. I tell you, somebody sometime is probably going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep.
It could be the Cowboys. It could be the Commanders. There's only been one undefeated team, the 72 Dolphins. And I'm betting that the Dolphins, those 72 Dolphins that are still alive, are now tuning in every week, the Philadelphia Eagles, and getting together to celebrate or wait for them to lose, which I think is going to happen somewhere along the line. The Eagles are top of most people's power polls, but I'm not sure they're the best team. They're not the best at stopping the run. They are fourth in points allowed. Now let me stop bagging on this team. It's a great team. Sanders is 656 yards, 5.0 average. Philadelphia has the most rushing touchdowns in the league, and Jalen Hurts is looking like possibly an MVP year. AJ Brown, we talked about McLaurin averaging 16 yards per catch. Brown's 16.7 yards per catch, 715 yards on the seasons. The Eagles are just flat out loaded. And when it comes down to Super Bowl time, the team I usually pick is the team for the Super Bowl is usually the team with the best offensive line. And the Philadelphia Eagles could be that team.
Yeah.
So I'm picking Philadelphia, and I think our whole channel is, except Bruins fan, thinks that Dallas will beat them in Dallas. That is going to be some kind of a game. DJ John has Philadelphia. And Bruins fan likes that Washington helmet. I think it's awesome too. It's actually kind of growing on me. When they first came out with the uniforms, I didn't like it. But each week I'm kind of liking it a little more. At least the helmet I'm liking. Let's see, Bruins fan, get your Washington pick.
Eagles. He had Eagles will fly again.
Okay. We got it. So that's our picks for the week. We are all in complete agreement except for the Arizona LA Rams game. I think that's the only pick that, also the Pittsburgh New Orleans game. So those two games, we got to look at what we're going to give to Rob's channel.
Well, I think you have to go with the Rams for the one because everybody but me picked Rams, right?
Yeah, for sure. The New Orleans Pittsburgh pick. Yeah, everybody was on New Orleans except for Browns fan. So we got to go with New Orleans on that. So that's it. One last thing before we close the show. Thank you, Lori and DJ John, Bruins fan, for your picks and your comments and joining us on the show today. Before we leave, I want to play. Lori and I live next door to Crown Center, the Westin Hotel. A lot of NFL teams stay there. And I took a couple of minutes of video of the Titans getting on the bus. So we'll end the show with that video. So hang on for 2 more minutes. Dan, thanks for being with us. Once again, DJ and Bruins fan and Lori, thank you also.
Thanks, Brian.
Right. I'm saying, looks like he's walking up there.
Mike.
How's Michael? The short was less good. And Derek Higgins was the last one out.
Matching luggage. All right, that's the show. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night. See ya.